I want to go over real quick 4 rookie running backs I think will be really good. Um, First, we have Bijan Robinson and Jamar Gibbs. I think Jamar Gibbs is less of a committee backfield, and he's definitely going to be the bell cow for the Lions.
Mm.
I believe they traded up to get him at the 12th overall pick.
Yeah. Yep.
And then so they have Jamar Gibbs now. I think he could be one of the top 10 running backs in the league. I think he could have a great year. They upgrade the offensive line. DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams are both gone. They brought in Montgomery, but it's like, again, I don't think he's a number one running back. I think he's a solid two. Thoughts on Jamar Gibbs versus Bijan Robinson, gun to your head?
I feel like talent wise, Bijan Robinson's better, but I think that the Lions' offensive line, I think both of them have a pretty decent offensive line, but I think that Jameer Gibbs is going to be just an absolute menace for the Lions. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty high on him as well. I think both of them are kind of can't miss. I think wherever if they fall in your lap, second or third round, I would absolutely take that. Although Bijan's probably not going to be there.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I think both of them will be good options. But again, I have Jamar Gibbs as the number one. And then as far as running backs who no one's really thinking about and you could potentially get off the waiver wire, I have Roshan Johnson from the Bears. If you're in a dynasty league, I think this could be a good pickup for you. He's 6 feet tall, 219 pounds. He's a big physical running back. And then he also played behind Bijan Robinson, who kind of overshadowed him, but he was the number 2 bell cow on that team and always shined when he played. I think the Bears don't really have a solidified number 1 running back besides Justin Fields. So I think he's going to be a big physical guy they're going to have in the backfield to block and potentially get some of those key third downs for him. So I think he could have a big year. And then also Kendra Miller for the Saints, 5'11, 215 pounds. So he's a big guy, can take the punishment. Not sold on Alvin Kamara staying healthy or being himself this year yet. And then Jamal Williams on that team. So I think he's a guy you could eye on the waiver wire, especially in your dynasty league. Do yourself a favor, pick him up early, especially if you have a guy on IR.
Yeah, absolutely. And this guy isn't a rookie, but I think that you'll see a lot more from him this year. Isaiah Spiller for the Chargers.
Isaiah Spiller.
Yeah, and if you look at the Chargers' history, right, this is typically their game, right? They had LaDainian Tomlinson, and then as he got older, they sprinkled in Darren Sproles. Darren Sproles was very solid. Once when he started to move into his own, they drafted Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
First year didn't really see him much. Second year he started coming to his own. Year 3, that was his running back role. And then after Melvin Gordon's on his way out. They draft Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler gets incorporated into the offense. Austin Eckler's team. I think Isaiah Spiller is going to have a more increased role for the Chargers next year. Don't think he's necessarily a fantasy option right away, but I think right around week 6 or 7, he could be a viable option for the Chargers. I would just keep a look at him and just keep him in the back of your mind.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with all of those, and that's definitely a good pick. One you could eye if you're in a dynasty league. If you're in a league that just drafts every year, this doesn't apply to you. But Titans drafted a running back this year. When they drafted Derrick Henry, they went ahead, sat him down behind DeMarco Murray. Didn't play a lot. So if they're kind of looking for the heir to the throne, you're in a dynasty league, want a guy who's going to pay off in the future, definitely go off the backup for Derrick Henry. Not going to play right away, but if you want to suck for a few years, keep getting high draft picks, definitely look into a running back who is going to back up an older player, like you said, with
Isaiah Spiller.
Spiller. Okay.
He
I want to
passes the
say
name
Isaiah
test.
Crowell.
Yeah, he passes the name test, I think, though.
Yeah,
And
unless
this-
people link him to CJ Spiller, but
Yeah, I think that the Chargers, there's just certain positions. Vikings with wide receivers,
yeah.
Patriots, honestly, with tight ends. But with running backs, I trust the Chargers probably the most of all. I feel like they've been the most successful drafting running backs the last 20 years.
Yeah, for sure.
They just seem to know what they're doing. As far as like sleeper picks, we went over Dameon Pierce. We went over Jameer Gibbs being a sleeper.
Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker is going to be really nice. I do think Javonte Williams, he's somebody that got burned. He's falling low in the draft as well. I would keep an eye on these guys. If you can find one of these guys in the 4th or 5th round, on top of getting your running back, maybe you have a keeper running back already as their third option, I think you'll have a pretty great receiver running back core if you do so.
Yeah, I think so as well. And then if few other sleepers we have here. I think Brian Robinson played really well for the Commanders. He's nothing flashy, but I think he's really solid and can pick up some of the slack. And then also Bijan Robinson back up for the Jets for Brees Hall. Brees Hall got hurt last year.
Who was it?
Bijan Robinson, the guy they traded for or James Robinson.
James Robinson.
James Robinson.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
of the Robinsons we talked about a lot, and it's a popular name for running backs. But Brian Robinson for the Jets. Brees Hall got hurt last year. They traded for him. Aaron Rodgers also likes veteran players on his team, especially running backs. Think he'll have some good chemistry with Aaron Rodgers going on. Gonna rely heavily on the running game, especially because that's a bad offensive line, and that'll be a way to take pressure off the quarterback. So I think he could be a guy where you can play around with him in your flex as the number 2 running back. I think another good number 2 running back will be Tank Bisbee for the Jaguars, because I think they'll do more of a split backfield with him and ETN.
Yeah, I agree. I think Tank Bigsby, he's another guy, especially if you're in a dynasty league. You draft him, you sit him on your bench for a couple weeks, kind of similar to how ETN was last year. You get him in there. I think that they're going to want what the Packers have with Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, 2 players that are a little bit different. James Robinson was getting near payday, and they didn't want to pay him, so they traded him. But Tank Bigsby, big physical running back, similar, kind of the opposite of